Joining us now with more is Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. By the way, Mr. Speaker, I understand there might be a change in position regarding how the House and their stance on the January 6th committee, and it might be regarding Steve Bannon, and it may have a big impact on his contempt case. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, we're working on filing an amicus brief in his appellate work there in his case, because the January 6th committee was, we think, wrongfully constituted. We think the work was tainted. We think that they may have very well covered up evidence and maybe even more nefarious activities. We've been investigating the committee itself. We disagree with how Speaker Pelosi put all that together. We think it violated House rules, and so we'll be expressing that to the court, and I think it will help Steve Bannon in his appeal.
Let me ask you, we see all of these examples that I showed last night on the program of rape and murder of people, unvetted, Joe Biden, illegal immigrants, 11 million, 180 countries, some with terror ties, some of our top geopolitical foes. And you see all of this happening. And I played Donald Trump saying that in the media's reaction in 2015 when he first came down that escalator. And we're looking at this situation, and Joe Biden lied for 3 years and said the border's secure and the border's closed. He said last week that he did it himself. Can you explain to the American people why it's a lie that this so-called bipartisan border security bill of Joe Biden was anything but a border security bill?
Yeah, it was an immigration bill. It did not secure the border. In fact, it would have incentivized further crossing. That was the problem. And it would have codified some of Joe Biden's terrible policies and made it almost impossible for President Trump, beginning in January in the new term, to fix it. So we had to stop that right there. Remember, Sean, we passed H.R. 2. Everybody knows now, the Border Security Act, the strongest border security measure ever passed by Congress. We did that 15 months ago in the House. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk collecting dust ever since. They do not want to close the border. They engineered the open border the way it is. They did it intentionally. Now we all know why. They want to turn them into voters and affect the outcome of the census in 6 years. We can't allow that to happen. We're fighting tooth and nail every single day to get control of it. But the sad fact is we're going to have President Trump before we can fix it. Joe Biden will not do it. He will not use his executive authority, and it is a travesty. The catastrophe will go on for decades, and we're going to be dealing with this for a long, long time.
I keep saying it. He has blood on his hands, and I believe we have terror cells in the country, but I pray to God I'm wrong, but I know I'm not, unfortunately. Your thoughts on the debate, which Joe Biden, you weren't even able to introduce him, as is custom, during the State of the Union. You know, it's your distinct honor, privilege, pleasure to introduce the President of the United States. He just got up there and went 1,000 miles a minute, yelling and screaming and racing through that speech. Okay, good night, folks. Done. We'd never seen that guy before. We haven't seen him since. Are we going to see him on Thursday night? Is that Joe coming back?
We'll see. I expect he's going to be up on energy drinks or whatever they're going to give him. And he did. He was overly aggressive at the State of the Union. It was pretty painful to sit behind him and experience that. And he jumped right over the introduction because he was so hyped up. I expect that's the Joe we'll see at the debate this week. But I tell you what, I was with President Trump this week. He's ready. And I can't wait for that evening, because he is going to put on his vision for the country. It's going to be on stark display. And in stark contrast with the weakness of President Biden. His record's atrocious. I traveled through 6 states last week, Sean, doing campaign events nonstop. No matter where we are, blue states, swing districts, or red states, it doesn't matter. Everyone is fed up with the way things are, and they know who to blame. So it's going to be interesting.
Every Republican needs to understand that if you're going to vote for Donald Trump, give him a Republican Congress with a big majority and give him a Senate with the biggest majority possible, so a lot can get done to help get this country back on track and get the world in a better position. Speaker Johnson,
right.
Thank you.